The end of this season was marked with Erling Haaland finally moving to Man City. And that is a very smart signing that is going to do good both to the club, as Man City have now got themselves a top striker, and to the player, as Erling has finally joined a big club. However, not all transfers are like that, as we've recently witnessed a number of poor ones. So let's talk about the worst signings of the 21-22 season. But first we have a question for you. Barcelona has made a lot of new signings throughout the season. Many of the newcomers joined the club for free. Which one of these players did cost money? Garcia, Depay, Aubameyang, Torres. Dele Alli. Dele Alli, once a huge prospect, hasn't been at his best lately. While still at Tottenham, he was either benched or injured and had little to no playing time, so it became clear that Dele failed to live up to his potential and would struggle to be back to his old self. So as he realized that he's no longer needed at Tottenham, he decided to change clubs and moved to Everton. Dele Alli did seem the right fit for the Toffees, the one to add creativity and quality. But in reality, it turned out to be not that easy. Dele only started one game since he joined Everton, as he would more often come in as a sub for the last 15-20 minutes. No wonder that the Englishman is yet to make a goal contribution for the new club in the Premier League. The club itself, we must say, had a poor season too. The team suffered 9 defeats since Ali came, and barely escaped relegation thanks to that very win against Crystal Palace. Friends, if you want to inspire us to make more videos about football, press the like button, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications bell. We need your support and assistance in growing our channel. Thank you. Leon Bailey. After Jack Grealish left for Man City, the Aston Villa board had a task in hand: to replace the team's biggest star somehow. A number of very decent-looking signings were made: Ings, Buendia and Bailey. None of them really managed to replace Grealish, but the one to have a really poor season was Bailey. Signed as one of the best Bundesliga wingers, 18 goal contributions for Bayern in the 2021 season, he tailed off in England like many other ex-Bundesliga players. His performance has been nowhere near what we would see from him in Germany. Bailey scored his only Premier League goal in September, made a couple of assists, and then got a 2-month thigh injury. And when he recovered from it at last, Philippe Coutinho was signed, and that made Lyon no more than a rotational player, so he wasn't even selected for this season's final matches. So we can tell that for sure, that Leon Bailey's signing has been a failure so far, and he's yet to prove himself to be worthy of 30 million euros paid. NIKOLA VLAŠIČ. In summer, on the deadline day, West Ham signed NIKOLA VLAŠIČ, the ex-Everton midfielder who had spent 3 years in Russia playing for CSKA Moscow. The Irons needed a quality playmaker and paid 30 million euros for VLAŠIČ, but as it turned out to be, it's way tougher in England than in Russia, so the signing ended up being a massive disappointment. Only 6 games as a starter and only 1 goal contribution. It looks even worse should we compare his performance to the team's success: 7th place in the Premier League and the Europa League semi-final. But the Croatian's impact was pretty much non-existent, as he would often stay on the bench as there were others to play: Bowen, Fornals and Lanzini. While Bowen is without a doubt a key player for West Ham, the other 2 players' first 11 spots didn't seem that solid at the start of the season. Still, VLAŠIČ ended up being no match for them, so his move to West Ham is in our list for a reason. Rodrigo De Paul. Meanwhile, Diego Simeone has been trying to instill a more attacking approach in Atletico. Back in the days, he made his team a fortress, but the time has come to make it more entertaining to watch. And the coach still has a long way to go and a number of problems to solve. Suarez and Oblak haven't been as consistent as they were, and Felix is yet to unleash his potential. So De Paul was signed from Udinese, one of the best playmakers in Serie A. But not in La Liga yet, as De Paul's form clearly dropped should we look at goals and assists or advanced stats. He had 2.3 key passes per game last season in Serie A, Now there are 1.4 in La Liga. Same for his dribbling stats. 3.4 successful dribbles per game at Udinese, less than 1 at Atletico. Surely it may be explained with the fact that the Pole has changed the scene and is yet to adapt to the new league, but at the same time, that is now what the Atletico fans hoped to see from the newcomer. Marcel Sabitzer. The rumors about Sabitzer moving to a bigger club have been there for years. He was meant to leave RB Leipzig sooner or later. In the end, he joined Bayern, which was quite a poor choice. Marcel is known for his versatility, so he had to play 6 different positions at Bayern: holding, central and attacking midfielder, winger, striker, and even a left back. But his strength turned into a disadvantage all of a sudden. Whatever position he had to play, there was a better player. The Kimmich-Goretzka partnership in midfield, Müller as number 10, and way more technical and faster players on both wings, Sané, Gnabry and Coman. As a result, there was no place for Sabitzer, simple as that, so he had to play from time to time when some of the first choice players got injured, and no more than that. And it's not like that's about to change, so maybe the Austrian should consider changing clubs again. Sergio Ramos. In June 2021, the Real Madrid legend left as a free agent after 16 years at the club. There was no new contract for Ramos, and PSG were there to sign an experienced centre-back as well as a leader. The transfer, we must admit, seemed questionable from the start, as PSG had let Thiago Silva go. Their long-time captain didn't get a new contract as he was deemed too old. And a year later, the club signed Ramos. He was 35 years old at that time, only a year and a half younger than Silva. So what could make PSG release their leading centre-back just to sign another old player with no experience of playing abroad and with a scandalous character? However, that's something we could expect from this club. Another thing was Sergio's injury proneness, as he was mostly injured throughout his last season at Real Madrid. And it got even worse at PSG, as he got even more injuries and had to miss 30 matches because of them this season. Sergio had to wait until late November for his PSG debut, and a week later he got his first red card for the new club. It was only in April when Ramos started playing more or less regularly, and not always as a starter, as there's a way younger centre-back at PSG, Kimpembe. It seems like the Spaniard has to find a new physio if he wants to keep playing football. Jorginho Wijnaldum. There was a hell of a transfer campaign for PSG last summer. Apart from Messi, Ramos and other players, Wijnaldum joined the club for free after he had spent 5 years at Liverpool. But the 2021 season was a disaster both for the player and for the club. Wijnaldum had to play many positions and start instead of one or another injured player. But still, when the season was over, PSG was among the clubs willing to sign the Dutchman, whose contract with Liverpool expired, so Wijnaldum joined the Parisians as a free agent. At first, Wijnaldum was starting a lot of games, but then lost his first 11 spot as Pochettino preferred more defense-minded players such as Pereira and Gueye, or Verratti, who's way more technically gifted. Sometimes the 4-4-2 formation was used and there was no place for the Dutchman in the midfield. Wijnaldum's strength are mobility and endurance, the qualities that were not always needed, as PSG didn't use high pressing that often because their star attackers are definitely not among the most hard-working players. So the midfielder's responsibilities were winning the ball back and making precise through balls. That's something Wijnaldum can do, but Verratti and Gueye are way more proficient at it. By the end of the season, Jorginho was often benched, and when he was to play, he showed nothing special. The Dutchman is still in the top 10 in terms of salary, as he earns more than 10 million euros per year, and should we consider his level of performance, that does seem too much. Jadon Sancho. Yet another player who didn't live up with all the expectations. Jadon was a world-class dribbler and playmaker, and that's exactly what Manchester United needed. What is more, the Red Devils brought back Ronaldo and their partnership looked very promising on paper. But while the Portuguese started scoring from day one, Sancho took a long time, 3 months, to make his first goal contribution for the new club. All in all, he scored 3 goals and made 3 assists, way less than we usually expect from the 85 million worth player. Jadon's advanced stats tell us of a huge drop in his form. Should we compare these seasons and last season's stats, we may see that there were 3 dribbles per game in the Bundesliga last season, and only 1.6 in the Premier League, and less key passes, 2.6 per game for Borussia Dortmund, 1.4 for Manchester United. The difference, as you can see, is too big to be explained by the adjustment period that took too long. Jadon Sancho seemed a fully formed world-class player in Germany, ready to make a step forward, and still his first season in England was far from perfect, though it's not like he's the only one to blame for United's poor performance. However, Sancho is still young and does have room for improvement. Jack Grealish. Manchester City is not used to making poor transfers, but still the club signed Grealish. Last season, City's attack left much to be desired despite the Premier League trophy and the Champions League final. Guardiola needed yet another individually skilled attacker, and that is why Jack Grealish, the Aston Villa leader, was signed for 117 million euros. And that was a big mistake, as Jack hasn't been as brilliant at City so far as he was at his old club. The reason for that may be his extreme desire to prove himself, so the Englishman would often get too carried away with dribbling. That's the way he was playing for Villa, but Man City is more about team play and following the rules of positional play. As Jack has never played for such a big club before, his dribbling attempts and risky through balls do look odd sometimes. Obviously, the Englishman is yet to get over the fact that he's not the biggest star anymore, like he was at Villa. The Real Madrid away game was probably the worst one for Grealish in a blue shirt so far, as he missed 2 absolute sitters, and we all know what happened next. Real Madrid went through and won the final, while Jack still has a long way to go in order to adapt to the new club and the new system. Romelu Lukaku. The number 9 curse still lives on at Chelsea. Lukaku's return seemed an absolutely mind-blowing move, and who would have known how it was going to unfold? After the Belgian scored a number of goals, he had a long goal drought that lasted until the new year. And then Lukaku scored as late as in May. All in all, 8 goals in 26 Premier League matches. The 115 million worth striker should do way better than that. No wonder such performance got him benched, and sometimes Romelu wasn't even selected for the game. The player wasn't pleased with that, but instead of working harder, he decided to give that very interview to Sky Sports Italia and tell the world about his love for Inter and for playing alongside Lautaro Martinez. The club, as you already know, didn't like that not one bit. Neither the fans nor the coach Thomas Tuchel, who became even more reluctant to start Lukaku. Apart from that controversial interview, there were problems Lukaku had to face on the pitch. At Inter, he was more like a classic number 9, running for through balls from deep, while Thomas Tuchel's side plays short passing positional football that doesn't fit Lukaku. So the one to play centre forward for the German coach is his compatriot Kai Havertz. So what do you think? What should Lukaku do now? Should he go back to Inter or maybe leave for some other club? What we must say in conclusion is that the majority of the players mentioned still have a chance to improve and adapt to the new team despite all the difficulties, so we'll be keeping an eye on them next season. And which of these moves seemed the worst to you? Let us know in the comments. See you!